Thanks for tuning in to Hyphenated People. I'm your host, Eni Aluko, and today we are in Rome. As you can see, I've got the backdrop of the iconic Colesseum behind me. I love this city so much, the eternal city, full of history, full of culture. And today I'm going to be speaking to Chris Smalling, footballer, vegan advocate, and investor. I cannot wait to go through Chris's card deck. I'm so excited for this conversation. Hey, Chris!
Hello!
Oh, bless you. Thank you for coming all the way. Yeah, thank you! Benvenuto, benvenuta. Look at this view.
This is Rome.
You must be used to it by now.
I am, I'm very lucky.
Chris, benvenuta a Hyphenated People.
Grazie.
Sta bene?
Tutto bene.
Oh, listen, I love this place. So you are a fantastic excuse to come back to Rome after 4 years. You know, obviously, you know I lived in Turin, so I really, really appreciate your time. I know you're in season. You know, as you know, we've put a card deck together that is specific to your hyphens, your memories, your life, your career. So I just can't wait to get into it.
Yeah.
As always on Hyphenated People, we start with the essentials, which is who you are, your heritage, and what you do and where you come from, right? So we're going to start off in Greenwich, London, where you were born.
Yes.
And the other side of your hyphen is Jamaica.
Yes.
So the first thing I'll ask you is, what is your earliest memories, and what was it like growing up as a mixed heritage lad, you know, in London, playing football, love football, you know, what are your earliest memories of that?
Yeah, so I would say Greenwich, obviously I was born there, but most of my childhood wasn't in Greenwich. We moved probably to Medway in Kent when I was maybe 5 or 6. So a lot of my memories aren't too far, well, I can't remember too much about Greenwich. I've been back sort of recently because we've got some family and things, but was there sort of with mum and dad, but then my dad passed away when I was 4 or 5, and then that's when we moved to Medway in Kent. So that was sort of my main childhood in Medway in Kent, but then in Greenwich, that is sort of where I'm born, and obviously I still have some attachment as well.
And how did you know, what was your love of football at that time? You know, how did you get into it? Was it just playing out every day, you know, in the local area?
Yeah, I think I was playing with sort of local clubs, and then my first proper team was probably Medway Kent, but equally I was playing a lot in the garden, and obviously when I was in London and with my brother as well, who's just a couple of years younger. So I think most of my memories were sort of like in a living room and using the curtains as a little goal and just shooting and things. And then obviously growing up, I was an Arsenal fan as well, because some of my family were Arsenal fans, so that was sort of where that love came from. And I think my brother, he supported United. I don't know if he just wanted to be different, or we had an uncle who supported United, so I think it's always nice to be different from your brother. So.
And the other side of your hyphen obviously is Jamaica. Have you ever been to Jamaica? What's your relationship with, you know, Jamaican culture, music?
Yeah.
You know, I know you said your dad passed. Do you have any sort of connection to that culture growing up?
Yeah, Jamaica sort of, I guess, growing up, I never went there too much, but now I'm old, I go there a lot. Me and my family, we love, even my wife, she loves bashment reggae, she loves all of that music. She's Jamaican at heart even before I met her, so we almost, I guess that was obviously one of the things that really brought us together. So we tried to go back to Jamaica quite a lot. We love the Caribbean, and obviously, that's my dad's side, and then my mum's sort of English Irish, and so I've got used to and more associated with Jamaica as I've grew up, and my kids are going to be going to Jamaica a lot, and I think we're going to be spending a lot of time there. So it's just a beautiful place. I mean, that way of life, slow life, the music.
Yeah, because I mean, I've been to some of the country. Side. I've not been to like Kingston, the main cities.
Yeah. I guess I've been to Kingston a few times. Daniel Sturridge, I went there with a few times as well, and we met like Usain Bolt and things all in the Kingston, and we were like, I guess when that was before I met Sam, we went there to like to party and to travel around, and then since, I guess we've been to all different parts. Negril is one of our favourite places. But yeah, we've got so many places we want to visit sort of all along that sort of coast and the other side as well. It's it's a place that's very close to me and my wife, which is amazing.
I love the fact you connected with that side.
Yeah, it's easy to get into contact with people, and we're starting to like connect little dots and little parts of the family which you never sort of knew about sort of technology today. So it's been nice in that respect as well.
I love that. I'm going to pass this to you as we go along the journey.
Yeah.
You're going to collect your deck.
Yeah.
One thing I love about you as a hyphenated person is that all of your hyphens connect. So as a footballer, you're also a vegan advocate and an investor. And I know as a footballer, being a vegan has helped you, you know, in terms of injury prevention, and you've spoken about that. And then you invest in plant-based businesses as a vegan advocate. So it all kind of ties in. How do you feel you've sort of grown all of these different aspects of you as a person, you know, as a footballer, that often, you know, Hyphenated People is all about exploring the different dimensions. Have you always been somebody that did something else, always thought about doing other things off the pitch?
Yeah, I think especially, I guess my route into football was quite different in that I didn't do the whole scholarship route, and I sort of came in when also I did my sixth form at A-level, so that period between 16 and 18 when you go off to clubs and you do your scholarships, I was sort of on a different route. And even at 18 I was going to university, like literally I was 3 weeks from starting until I got 2 trials at Fulham and Middlesbrough, and went to Fulham. But so I think I've always had a different option or a different route or a different thought, that not putting all my eggs in one basket, which I think has definitely helped me. And even in those trials, I think the fact that I was already going to uni in my head 80% probably helped me perform better in those trials, because it's not like, I've got to do everything, like I've got to make this pass, I've got to do this tackle if I make a mistake, like, so that obviously helped me. And I feel like now that's sort of evolved into me having different things. And I guess growing up, I'd always liked Dragon's Den, like just watching it.
Me too.
Even when I was young, it was just interesting how obviously they grilled them, but they also followed some of their passions, and they might not be too sure on the business, but they like the founder, for example. And that's something that has always stuck with me. And then now that obviously I'm in a fortunate position where I can probably follow my passions, and some of it's plant-based, some of it's sustainable impact, if that sort of ethos is now being able to link that Dragon's Den young version of me that wanted to be a part of it with companies that ultimately want to make a difference, some element of sustainability in it. And it's a nice, I've enjoyed that side of things sort of off the pitch. And we do a lot of travelling, as obviously that you'll see, and especially with football, as you know, that it's nice to be able to just dive into different things, but it doesn't take away anything from the pitch, because I think it's nice to be able to have a little nice balance.
And it's healthy, right? Like as you said, like, you know, if you put all your eggs in just that football basket, I think sometimes it can become a bit much. Certainly in my experience, I feel like having other things gives you the energy to
definitely,
you know, so that's definitely apparent in your life.
It's good to be able to balance and do different things, because there's plenty in the day to be able to focus and do.
Yeah. I'm really interested, Chris, because I've lived in Italy, right? There's cheese everywhere. There's sauces everywhere. How do you do it in Italy? Because it must be hard. Like, do you have like a separate chef that kind of only caters to, you know, your veganism? Is there other vegans in the team so it feels a little bit less individual? How do you do it in Italy?
Yeah, so I guess obviously when I came here first on loan, I was plant-based, and then obviously I moved into Italy sort of quite last minute, and I'm thinking maybe not the most friendly plant-based place that I could think of going to, but literally full credit to the club. One of the things when I came and we did the tour and everything, the nutritionist Guido sat down with me, showed me like different menus, showed me all different things, like what do you like, and literally put me at ease in terms of that. I mean, there's one thing settling on the pitch, there's the language barrier, and then in my mind I'm thinking, how am I going to eat? They put me at ease in that. And then obviously even now, there's so many different restaurants, like even there's just plant-based restaurants and all different ones especially near where we live, which is great. But also a lot of other restaurants are offering sort of plant-based options as well. So I think, yeah, there is a lot of cheese, a lot of meats, etc. But at the same time, I can equally go to most places and have a good meal of my choice, and they can have a good meal of their choice in most restaurants. So it has been a lot easier than I thought when I first moved, and especially over these last sort of few years, it's become easier and easier. And there's some great restaurants in Rome, which I never even thought there would be that many here, really, considering there's a lot more in England than I would have thought there was in Rome.
Yeah, I wouldn't have thought actually that, you know, because obviously at Juventus for me, it was just pasta and meats, and it was quite heavy. I always felt quite heavy, but one thing I felt in Italian culture, food is king, right? And they're 100%. Just so specific about your diet and you know how you manage that side of your nutrition.
Yeah, no, they really are.
So you've worked with them on that.
Yeah, no, they've been great in terms of coming up with different meal plans, ideas, and obviously my wife, she really helped in terms of, because she's a big cook, and even prior we both went plant-based, and she did all of it, jerk chicken, curry goat, everything, like in terms of that. But equally she transitioned to be able to make all of the plant-based food with those type of spices and everything. So I guess a lot of that's helped with the chefs in terms of giving them inspiration. And then I remember even at United, the chef, Mike, he's a lot older. I don't think he was there maybe 30, 40 years. And I was giving him a lot of inspiration because he didn't really know too much. But then he came in one day showing me a book. Look, I've bought this book. It's a plant-based book. And he was showing me, I'm going to try this next week. And it was really nice to see like them sort of making the effort. And he even sort of surprised himself and said, like, in terms of some of the dishes that he was making, he was enjoying. So,
well, that's really interesting because, listen, I tried to go vegan and I felt faint after about 5 days. Like, I just couldn't do it. But often it does inspire other people. Has it had an impact on your other teammates and other people at the club at Roma?
Yeah, it definitely has, even at United as well and Roma. Like, for example, like in football, as you know, it's a buffet. There's 3-4 main dishes, the pastas and everything, and then they'll have one that's mainly vegan, whatever the dish is. And then quite often, sometimes I go there for lunch now and it's all gone. Even before the chicken sometimes, like on certain days, it depends what it is. Like, I don't know if it's meatballs or if it's whatever type of curry or whatever it is. Like, half of it's gone or sometimes all of it's gone, and I'm like, weirdo. I didn't see anyone else ask for this.
Right, this is meant to be like for
me. Yeah. But he's surprised, and I guess it's good that obviously people are having more vegetables, etc., which is obviously just a win-win. But there are a few that are sort of dipping their toes in, and I never really push it on anyone else because it's just like, that's just your own thing. But ultimately, if they want to, ask me questions or if they want to try it, then it's nice to see.
Obviously, you've talked a lot about the impact that being a vegan has had on the pitch for you in terms of, you know, improving your tendonitis in your knee. Was that the core reason why you became vegan, or was it more sort of ethical? You know, not eating animals kind of thing.
Yeah, I guess it did start from the tendonitis. It was a purely physically how I felt in that time, I think. Because at the time, my wife, she was plant-based and she was for about 18 months, but I wasn't. I was just eating my own thing. And sometimes at home, I would eat some plant-based dishes, but when I was out, I would just eat the norm, what I was always eating. And then because at home, I was eating less, particularly red meat, less of that, I felt my tendonitis was starting to get a little bit better, and I didn't really do any different training or anything like that. So then she kept saying like, oh, if you see this, it's something to do with tendonitis, and sometimes if you cut red meat, and then like she's been saying this for about a year, and I'm like, okay. just let me eat what I'm eating. And like quite often she would put in different documentaries and things, and I'm like, come on, like that's why I'm not pushy. But then ultimately I transitioned a lot later, just off my own back, which I think is the best way. Yeah. So I then stopped eating red meat, but I was eating eggs, chicken, and everything else, and my tendonitis really almost went. And I was just like, wow, this is something that I'm gonna keep. And ultimately, okay, next thing's chicken and blah blah, and then ultimately it just went. So then, like, I was eating mainly plant-based, and that alone was just enough for me to just say, and it wasn't easy because obviously I was used to eating so much sort of meat and chicken and everything, that for me alone, that was enough just to be like, you know what, I don't have to deal with this every day in training and matches. Even though I was playing, it's niggly, as you know, tendonitis. So that was that for a bit. And then ultimately I started to look at a few different, more on the animal side of things, that I was watching things and I was like, this is quite a tough watch. And then reading different things, and then ultimately it led me down a journey that over those following couple of years that sort of opened my eyes a little bit.
Well, you've talked about it, how it opened other doors, and you've taken it to another dimension in terms of starting for good, which is investing in plant-based startups and businesses. Talk to me a little bit about that, you know, and sort of what was the inspiration behind focusing on on obviously plant-based.
So For Good, I guess, was also something that was in the making for a couple of years. I guess I was obviously plant-based at the time, and a lot of my early investments were mainly plant-based. Now I'm not just plant-based, but more impact sustainable, so I open up to a lot more other areas, but a lot of the first 5 or 6 were very plant-based and food. And then quite a few of those were doing quite well, and I was getting a few other questions from, because there was some bits in the media how I was supporting this company, I'd invested in this company, and I was getting a lot of questions from some from teammates, some from just on Instagram, some from people that I knew. They're like, oh, how's that going? I see they're blowing up, they're doing well. And I was having a lot of conversation with people that were like, this was sort of my process, this is how this is going. And they were just like, just wanted to suss it out because it was all quite new. And then because I was getting so many different people asking, I thought it would just be great just to be able to hopefully build a network of people that equally, not just plant-based, but ultimately who are interested in doing some impact sustainable things. And obviously there's a plant-based section, but there's clothing, there's so many different aspects that can be in that sort of thesis. And then I guess just from there I teamed up with Sebastiano and Rebecca as well. And Sebastiano is someone who's quite a main figure in that space, so it was great to be able to partner with him, and we bounced off and started many things together. That it was nice to be able to offer the people that had reached out to me almost a port of call of, look, this is what I'm doing, but this is what someone else has been doing for so many years, and the results, and here's some opportunities if you want to have a little discussion, and ultimately build from that. And then from there it's just been almost sort of word of mouth. And then obviously we announced the For Good, but we'd already had so many people come on board that it was just like it was just like so authentic that people just came together, and ultimately with the goal of being able to impact sustainable ventures. For me, it started from plant-based food, and now it's just a whole thesis of that.
Well, the world has changed, hasn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, I think we're so much more aware of like what we're putting in our bodies, what we're wearing.
Definitely.
You know, the sustainable world has really blown up. So I think it's an amazing time to actually have an investment focus on those areas, because it's less niche now. It is very much more, you know, it touches on fashion, food and everything.
No, 100%. I guess because also one of my first 2 investments was All Plants and Peanut-X, who it's a pineapple fibre that like we partnered with Nike, and they partnered with like Hugo Boss on some trainers, which was what got me into them, because I was shopping in Hugo Boss and I saw this and it was like made out of pineapple, like this is interesting. And then I literally just emailed the CFO at the time and just thought, oh, I love what you're doing, and didn't know whether he was going to reply or anything. And then literally we got into a conversation, I met him in London, and then 9 months I invested into those. And it's just been nice that now, especially with companies, everything has to be so transparent, and everyone wants to know the journey, wants to know the story. And I feel like hopefully being able to bring on like-minded people that maybe want to be a part of it will hopefully just enhance that story and spread the word.
Well, as an investor and a footballer, you're also the co-founder of the Player Fund.
Ah, yes.
Which is a fund that really is for players to invest in, you know, loads of different startups across different industries, which is brilliant. You've got me involved as well, and I'm on board. I was sold as soon as you emailed me, because I thought this makes a lot of sense. And it's important, isn't it, you know, for us as footballers with short careers,
definitely,
to invest in your future. Talk to me about kind of that process, co-founding the Player Fund, and how it's, you know, how it's going to probably blow up in terms of what it's doing.
Yeah, 100%. I guess from For Good and that, hopefully helping to sort of bring my network and bringing further people together, and then ultimately they're building networks from each other and things that it felt like I'd always wanted to be a part of. Like with For Good, it's sort of SPV, so individual companies where we'll group 5 or 6 of us together and invest in that one company. And then I always felt like a good progression would be to have a fund where you could invest in 20, 30 things, and there is, obviously if you invest in all in one thing, it can be a little bit more risky, but if you can group things together, they can take away some of that risk. Because another element of the Players Fund is the education as well.
Yeah, 100%.
Which was one of the, because even with For Good, I had maybe 3 or 4 offers to team up with a fund, and ultimately I probably could have had a bigger piece of that fund, but then ultimately with Fergus and Rory, there are many of us who are involved, so we have smaller pies, but it felt more
safe.
Yeah, because obviously you build a fund, it's for sort of 5, 10 years, and it felt right to be able to build that. And the educational side of things in terms of the horror stories that I've heard and some of the traps that I maybe fell into when I was younger or could have fallen into, and how especially their event series and some of their partners, just feels right that I want to be able to help that side of things, as well as obviously people making good investments and learning about that. But yeah, that was another massive side of that I wanted to be a part of.
Well, what I found really interesting when you sort of, put this on my radar was that there's a genuine desire to have athletes involved in the businesses that you're investing in, right?
Definitely.
So, giving knowledge, giving expertise that's going to help the business grow.
Yeah.
It's not just like, give me your money and then we go off, which I think is a problem in football, where there's just a lack of trust, I think, where players have been burnt. And they've been burnt by people in the finance world who've invested their money and it's been wrong investments. This feels a little bit different. Is that something that you were conscious of, like, this has to have players involved in the businesses, and there has to be a trust element to it as well?
100%. I think, because even like when I was growing up, mainly in the United change room and a little bit in the Fulham change room, there wasn't too much talk of what you're investing in, but I'd say 99% of what I heard was property for a start. And obviously you need a property element of your thing, but some of the horror stories that I heard, I was just like, I'm not going to talk to any players about anything, because there's so many different agents, so many different people that are, I'd call them sharks, because there are a lot of people that want things. So I feel like, especially when people are starting to ask me about my own investments, I was almost wary of suggesting or talking too much, because it's like, I'm taking this risk and I feel I've done my own due diligence, but it didn't feel right to necessarily go out and say, oh look, I'm going to go in this, if you feel, without having a trusted partner. And then also, with the Players Fund, once I saw the people that were essentially the essential investment team, I felt confident in that, and that when we brought the athletes, and ultimately, like you say, we have the athlete committee where it's up to the athletes as to how involved they want to be, so they can be really involved in, some might just want to put their money in and just be a part of it and hear updates from time to time. Some might want to be like yourself on the athletes committee and have a say and be able to really influence. And it was important that athletes could really feel a part of the venture and a part of the fund, and it's almost altogether I feel like that was quite a nice and an important element for wanting me to be a part of, and also to hopefully recommend to others. It's going to be great. I love it. I love the Player Fund. Chris, such interesting hyphens. So interesting. So we're going to go on a bit of journey now. We're going to travel the world, and of course we're going to start in Manchester, where you spent 10 years at Manchester United. You won 2 league titles and the Europa League, which in context of today, as we're sat in front of each other, Man United winning the league feels a little bit far away. So you actually had a very successful time. Lots of cups, 2 league titles, and the Europa League. I think that's some good going. How do you reflect on your time in Manchester? I think I reflect very fondly. I feel like I probably won't really reflect fully until I stop. But at the same time, I guess I appreciate it with each day that passes. I think in terms of especially those celebrations as well, and obviously we won a cup here in Rome, and seeing those celebrations and ultimately thinking, did I really treasure it when I won it in Manchester or won it in Fulham, for example? Because it's almost like in football you're so used to okay, we won the cup, or you won a game, next game, next one, focus wherever's really treasuring that moment that may not come until I finish, but at the same time, yeah, I mean, Manchester's going to be the large bulk of my career, and somewhere where I've got a home and will continue to have a home in the future, and obviously I met my wife there as well, so Manchester's got a lot of connections for life.
Well, you had a good innings, and let's fast forward to leaving Manchester. And you've been open about saying you were really disappointed with kind of how it went, you know, in terms of you had one day, I think, to decide where to go. One thing that doesn't get talked about a lot is that conversation with your family. You know, how does that happen? You know, you go to your wife and say, right, we've got to go. You've obviously, you had your son at that point.
Yeah.
What was that like, having to deal with that at that time?
Yeah, it was nerve-wracking. I think ultimately, like you say, that summer I wasn't thinking of actually heading anywhere, or didn't have it in mind, and then ultimately when you get told that you may only play half the games, and ultimately I don't want to be second, third choice. So, of course, and I think Sam knew that, and obviously I was disappointed in the time that I had. Obviously I'd like a lot of time in terms of weighing up all the options, but like you say, I had less than 48 hours, and then so I go home to Sam, and I'm like, she's probably made some plans in Manchester for the next couple of weeks. She's going to see someone or do something, and I sort of drop that on her, and it's like, even going home, I'm thinking, how am I going to say this? Because it's almost like she's always backed me, and she's always been like, look, if you feel like this is what you need, and we're always with you. So then ultimately, she helped me put that family side of things at ease, and then ultimately, it was sort of quite a quick decision that let's do it. And by the time I went, I think it was September, so it was only like 7 or 8 months until the end of the season. I think the month had already gone, but I just thought I live with no regrets, and I feel like if I've got my family with me, let's just do it and see what happens. And then ultimately it did leave me with more options in terms of going elsewhere or being able to stay here. So
well, let's talk about those options, because obviously you only had 48 hours before the window closed.
Yeah.
So was it a case of you could only go abroad? How did that happen with such a short space of time?
That was where the main disappointment came, because I didn't have the time to do that. Most clubs had already made their moves. Like, there had been a couple of interest early in the summer. Once I spoke to who was Fonseca at the time, like, he couldn't believe that I was available, and he was like, we'll do everything to make it possible. And I felt like, do you know what, he's got this belief in me, and it was nice to be able to go out of my comfort zone, do something different. But so it was definitely tougher for her, because I'm going training every day, but the family did enjoy it, and it was a nice experience. And obviously years later we're still here.
And I'm guessing at the time you didn't think, I mean, it was a loan deal, you didn't think you'd be here.
No.
You know, your contract's till 2025, right? Which says to me, often in life, we just have to make a decision and go for it, and actually it turns out brilliant.
Yeah.
You know, and I think in football, it's become a more of a trend, I think, for players to go abroad, and it can feel a little bit scary, but actually it works out brilliantly in your case.
And one of my main things is not having regrets, and I feel like that was something that was really driving me.
It's worked out well.
Exactly, yes.
So we're gonna come to Rome, where we are.
Yes.
The Serie A now, it's got to be one of the most exciting leagues in the world, because you don't know who's going to win the league. Yeah. You've got Napoli winning it last year. You saw what it meant to them.
100%.
You know, AC Milan.
Milan before that, Inter before.
You know, it is about how powerful it is for the people, and sort of that memory.
100%.
You are probably one of the biggest success stories of English footballers who have come abroad and smashed it, basically. Like, I think you're on like maybe 150 appearances now. Which, you know, signed a new deal this summer to 2025. Fans love you, club love you. Won the Europa Cup. Conference League with Roma.
Lifting with Roma was an epic time.
Yeah, that was massive.
And probably also the celebrations here were immense. Like, literally outside of here was gridlocked. Seeing the passion on their faces. So then I know that when we lift another trophy, and hopefully it will be even bigger and better competition, this place will be like no other. It's
in the Serie A.
Exactly. Like, literally, Rome will shut down for a week.
Your first day at Roma, what was it like in terms of, you know, because I've played in Italy, and there was a lot of people that I felt could speak English, but were like,
yeah,
you know,
yeah.
how are they gonna throw themselves into the culture and try and speak Italian, or are you gonna be like this English player that, you know, what was sort of the first week for you?
Yeah, so I guess even at the time when I came to Rome, I didn't know too many of the players. Obviously, I'd heard of a few, but Edin Dzeko, for example, was someone who I also spoke to prior to coming as well. I think once it was looking likely, I think they must have obviously got Edin, and he reached out to me, and he was someone who was very helpful in terms of, especially my early days, and Justin Clivett as well.
Yeah.
There was Davide Stanton as well, but they were the only three that really spoke English. And like, if I was to fast forward it now to our changing room, nearly everyone speaks English, and even those Italians, their English is unbelievable.
Really?
Yeah. At that time, there wasn't that many nationalities in the changing room, whereas, I mean, now probably in a lot of English clubs there are so many different nationalities, and English is quite obviously a common language. And I mean, seeing my progress in Italian is obviously better, but seeing theirs as well, I think it's a lot easier now. For example, Tammy walking into our changing room than it was when I walked in.
Right.
3-4 years ago. Like, it's night and day in terms of that. So I was walking in the changing room very, I wouldn't say nervous, because obviously I was still a bit nervous, obviously, but what did help me hit the ground running was I had a game, I think Atalanta at home. I think we actually we drew or lost it, but basically I was playing against Zapata, who's another big striker, but I did really well against him. I was bossing him, I was sharp, and then I feel like the other players noticed that. It was like, oh, okay, and the fans as well.
Nice.
And sort of from then, that really helped sort of set the tone. But I was, Claudio, who's the translator, I sort of had to get up to speed on some of the basics on the pitch, like press or right, left, behind, push up, like just little phrases that I just had to be like, go home and be like, okay, that's Sinisa, Sale, things like just basic things so that I could at least communicate on the pitch. But it helped obviously with Paolo Fonseca, the manager at the time, and the coach and stuff. They also spoke English. So I think that was also another helpful element.
But tactics are in Italian, right?
Tactics were in Italian. For example, like Claudio now, with all the people that we come into our change room, there's about 8 people he needs to translate for, and there's a few different languages as well. So like now, I'm sat here with Claudio, and then now he's having to translate for so many different people, and like, I think that's just with all the different nationalities that we have. But yeah, I was sat next to him, so he was sort of explaining everything, and then now he's translating some, and I'm sort of sat normally in the meetings, and I might be translating for someone else, because there's so many people that are coming to the club that are learning Italian. So it's
what a job.
Yeah, it's nice to be able to transition even on the pitch, like if Jose, because he does it obviously all in Italian, and he speaks loads of languages as well, and then like he'll explain a drill, and then one or two of them might look at me, and I'm like, yeah, we're just doing this. And it's a nice feeling to be able to do that, even though my Italian's not top, and it should be better than it is, even though I can get by. It's a nice feeling, and it sort of spurs you on.
What was it like, sort of like experiencing the Roman, Italian culture for the first time?
Yeah, so initiation wise, we had a few dinners out, but obviously initiation wise, you've got the singing. Because obviously I'd been at United for so long, and at the time I didn't sing. We had to do like a bit of a speech, ask questions. There was a few of us young ones at the time that were coming in, so we didn't really do the whole singing. So up until I came here, I'd heard of like, obviously a lot of people moved to a lot of different clubs, and like, I sung that song. I've not even sung a song like are they gonna make me sing? Like,
what did you sing?
So I sung a Portuguese song.
Okay.
Which, because I was thinking of all these different songs, like some good English bangers, but then I'm thinking, this is not the audience to do it. So I sung a Portuguese song that's just basically got a chorus, and then it gets everybody in. So I winged it that way. So I was quite happy, and more nervous of that than my debut with Roma, to be honest. So
that's very smart.
So to be fair, it ended up working out okay.
To do something anthemic.
Yes, and then now I can just watch everybody else do it and just be relaxed and laugh at them.
So you sound like you sort of blended in pretty well, and obviously on the pitch and off the pitch. You've also talked about the home birth of your second son.
Yes.
Here in Rome.
Really.
And you've got 3, right?
2.
2, right.
Yes.
And so I'm sure they probably speak better Italian than you if they go to school here.
Yeah, well, Leo is starting. He started school when he was 3. He went to sort of a little bit of nursery for a bit, but in terms of, he goes to an international school. But I would say probably 80% of the kids only speak Italian anyway, and they do speak it in English and Italian. So I think they said that he will pick up a lot, because I mean, I sort of said to them at home, like me and Sam, we don't speak much Italian between us, but I think when I came to Italy and I started learning the language, I realised how key it is to have another,
100%, yeah.
to your armour is just massive. And I think in school, languages was almost a second thought for me, whereas now it would be a main focus, and I will put it on my kids as well. Especially with some of our friends here, they've got an English wife and an Italian dad, and their son is the same age as Leo, and their daughter's a year older. But they're just mixing between English and Italian between the parents. I mean, it's incredible to see. So, if we can get Leo to that,
to do
would be great.
From Rome to Bali.
Ah, yes.
And we're going to talk about your proposal that didn't go to plan. Now, this is interesting. What happened?
Yes. So it had been on my mind for a little bit, and I thought during the season we're sort of just at home, and there's nothing too special about just doing it at home. I can go to a nice restaurant at home, and I thought, you know what, we have our time in the summer where we go on holiday. So I thought, right, I've got the ring, I'm going to do it on holiday. And we went to Bali. We both got food poisoning.
Oh, wow.
There was something that we'd had that were just... So I fell and collapsed on the floor, and I've actually still got a little thing here, and you might see I've got like one of these like slit. It's not done on purpose. Like, I know when you were younger, you see people slitting their eyebrows and stuff as a fashion. This is, for everyone, this is not something like that. This was a scar
just
that
to
I
clarify.
had. I had a scar here, and I've got like a scar here where literally, you know, toilet floors, it's like this.
Oh my God.
Bang. And then I literally both ended up coming back to bed, and I was like, babe, my eye and my head is killing me. And she looked at it, and she was like, it's all right, don't worry. I think she didn't feel great, and she was half tired. They woke up in the morning, she's like, yeah, we need to go to the hospital. So I'd had all these stitches, so in the end we ended up going on this boat trip, and I'm thinking, I've got to try and propose, or is this a sign that I shouldn't propose?
Were you still feeling ill when you got down on one knee?
I wasn't feeling ill, no, that had passed.
It was
I
past,
was just looking a mess and feeling a bit of a mess, but I felt all right. And then in the end, it wasn't the sign that we shouldn't, because we're here so many years later.
Yeah, exactly. Wow.
It's obviously a good memory, but
Yeah.
at the same time, it's
Interesting memory.
Yeah, it's something that's going to stick with us.
No, that's amazing. Right, so we're going to go to Thailand, and you've put here is the hyphen with just Sam.
Yes.
So it's just you and Sam. I'm assuming you had the kids by this point.
No, we were kidless.
You were kidless at this point?
Yes, okay. yeah, at this point. So Thailand was also another place. We've got a few places that I guess we'll touch on that we've been to, but Thailand was up there, and the same time of then we went through all across down the things. We went sort of on mopeds around, and it was just nice. Beautiful. Just to be able to go on bikes and explore. But yeah, Thailand is another beautiful place that we will definitely hopefully have some attachments to.
It sounds like you and Sam really bond through travel.
Yeah, definitely. I would say I feel like we do love to travel, and I feel like it's nice that we like to try new things and try to go to different places, which we've always wanted to do, and I feel like that's sort of really bonded us even more. And also being able to just research the things, like for example, obviously we've had kids now, but we'll also be planning for future holidays, and we'll be like, we want to go there, and we'll take a little screenshot and put little things in, and it's nice to be able to make these plans and experience it all.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds great. You've been to some incredible places.
Yeah.
So we're staying in Asia, and we're going to now travel to Vietnam.
Yes.
Ha Long Bay.
Yes.
Where you had a very welcoming welcome.
Yes.
And you know, tell us about that. How that was.
Yeah, Vietnam was amazing. I think I would say that Vietnam wasn't on the top of our list. We had quite a few different places that were on our list. And a lot of the places that we went to, a lot of people that we met and we spoke about Vietnam, they were like, this is one of our favourite places ever. And then we kept hearing it, and then we were looking more into it, and we thought, we've got to go here. We saw so many different places. I mean, Ha Long Bay, and then you've got Hanoi, Ho Chi Minh. I mean, again, we traveled from north to south, but in terms of just the people and the welcoming, obviously we were also plant-based this time,
right,
which was unbelievable there. Like literally the places were, some of the food was incredible.
Wow.
But the people were just also so welcoming because obviously the war there as well wasn't that long ago. Like it didn't realize, like literally we did a couple of tours where we had a guide that helped give us more insight into some of the local places that we had, and it was quite touching that a lot of those had family members that were also in the war, even just like a granddad or someone. So it's not that long ago, and just how welcoming they are, that obviously of all tourists, because I mean what happened there, and we went to some of the places where they had to make the tunnels underground and things that were just, I mean I couldn't even imagine what it must have been like there with the family, but the people were just so welcoming as well. And I remember I think we was in Hanoi. They've got a local game that's called, I can't remember, but basically it's like a shuttlecock, but a big shuttlecock, and they sort of play football. Wow. Like literally I've seen them, so many of them, they were playing all over Vietnam. They were like, and they were just playing, like some of them were doing skills and all sorts. I was like, wow. And then we were just walking on the street, and then someone just kicked it to me. And then I just started randomly playing with them, and then Sam was getting a video out, and then she was a video, and it was just like so surreal, and it was like such a welcoming place that we were just like, I would say that out of a lot of the places that we've been to, Vietnam is one of our most memorable. Yeah. Just in terms of everything about it, it was a really amazing
And I'm
place.
guessing they didn't know you were a footballer when they passed you this shuttlecock.
No, they didn't. And then I think me and Sam posted it, and then it got a little bit more traction on that. But at the time, no, it was literally, they were just playing, I think, and then I just sort of ended up joining in. It was just like, it was just, it was.
I bet the pictures of that.
Yeah, no, it was super cool.
Gosh, you're making me want to go to Vietnam. It was on my list, and now it's gone up even higher.
No, literally, Vietnam was amazing.
So we're off now to South America.
Oh yes.
And I'm really interested to talk to you about your plans for what you want to build in Costa Rica.
Yes.
A future home, an eco-village.
Yeah.
You know, we've talked about, you know, you're very intentional about your investments in, you know, plant-based businesses and, you know, plant-based investments. This is pretty futuristic stuff, an eco-village in Costa Rica.
Yeah, definitely. And I think Costa Rica was also on our mind when we had Leo. So for example, we're thinking of how it brings you back to how you was a childhood and how you grew up, and how the world is very maybe different to sort of me or Sam, like going off when we were younger, like me and my brother just going off, mum not knowing where we are, but you're just going off playing, and then she'll just call you in. Whereas these days it's hard to go too far without everything that's going on in our crazy world at the minute. Yeah. So it makes us like think we want our kids to be able to have that freedom to be able to connect with nature, to be able to enjoy playing with their friends and have that freedom. So Costa Rica, and we'd seen about an eco-village that is already up and running there. So we thought Costa Rica is also a beautiful place, and it's like, let's go there, and we're going to stay at this eco-village as well for part of it. And then we will go off to the other side to the beach, we'll do where the volcanoes are, etc., and see all of Costa Rica. And then so we stayed there, which was great. It was like a sort of smaller eco-village. And then it turns out they were building a bigger one that we're now going to be a part of, that we've bought some land there as well.
Wow.
And literally, I guess the whole process as well, in terms of the whole master plan that they have there, like there's a school there as well. So I think that we've not decided that we're going to fully move there full time, but I think we will spend large parts of our time there. And it's just, in terms of the whole place, is just, you've got everything there that you would want as a family for your kids to thrive and enjoy, as well as Sam to be able to do her own thing, for me to be able to meet, connect some amazing people. So it's like, it really ticks everything for us as a family that I feel like is going to be a large part of I guess our future, in terms of spending large parts of time there as well.
It sounds like a utopia. It
really is. Like the master plan is a joke, and like either for example, like we're going there when we went there, and you're walking down, you've got all of these other houses when we sort of rented a house there, and you're going to walking around and you're like picking a mango or picking a jackfruit. Like it's just like pretty surreal, and like for us to be able to plan that and what we're going to grow. Like for example, here we've got a small vegetable patch, but we're growing lots of different things there, and it's nice. Like even Leo, he's so into it. He brings his little wheelbarrow, he brings his little cuts, he's cutting some of the herbs, he brings in a tomato or a cucumber and puts it on the thing. Like literally it's, but there's so much there that I feel like, especially with today, it's very difficult for kids to be able to just go off and play and do their own thing.
With nature.
And so Costa Rica, how long we stay there is up to grabs, and there's a school there that we've also visited in terms of their teachings as well, is very like-minded what we want our kids to teach. But it's nice to be able to know that we could go there for large periods and have everything that we want. And being able to hopefully split some time in Europe and there is our plan at the minute.
So you're 33 now. This sounds like a pretty cool retirement
Yes,
place.
Yeah, definitely. I think it's going to take some time to obviously get up and running, but it's nice to be able to be a part of it from almost the ground up, shall we say, because the community, like in terms of like even now, there's like we're having it in groups with the actual community, and we're discussing things that are important to the community and what else there should be and what there shouldn't be and things. So it's nice to be able to be a part of something and everyone to be able to have a say. I think it's going to be hopefully epic. I think
it sounds amazing.
Yeah.
It sounds amazing. Right, we're off to Peru.
Ah, yes.
And it's a place I've never heard of. Machu Picchu.
Machu Picchu, yes.
Amazon, in the Amazon.
Yeah.
Which you've been to. I mean, these are some amazing places. Like, I thought I travelled. You've been to the far-flung places of the earth. So you talk about the locals. You know, they obviously left an impact on you.
Yeah.
In Machu Picchu.
Yeah. So Peru is. I know when we sort of before, obviously, we were getting together, and I was thinking of some of the places like. You don't really sit back and like now and actually think, because like you say, at the time it's like I've had such a great 6 weeks here, and then it's into football or into normal life, whatever, and like now you're able to really cherish it. But yeah, Peru was amazing, like especially Machu Picchu, and obviously we didn't climb the whole thing, which is going to take many days, but we're able to do the last bit, and being sort of at the top as well was sort of really, really surreal. And going to the Amazon as well, like we were going along sort of a little boat, and we were doing some like local fishing at the time, and it was just so surreal, just like literally in the Amazon, like which was crazy. And then we also stayed with some locals as well. So like each place that we go to, we try to hopefully make a bond with some locals and spend some time, and luckily we were able to stay with some locals as well and just show us. They made us a nice meal, we went on walks, and they were teaching us a lot about the area as well. We've been very lucky at each place that we've got that you hear such amazing things about Peru and different recommendations and people that have stayed, that we literally were able to experience all of that. It's just.
And what's the local culture like? What are some of those teachings that have probably stayed with you?
Yeah, I think one of them, especially family orientated as well. I think a lot are family orientated, but in terms of there was so many, especially the family that we stayed to, there was like 2 or 3, 4 generations all in the same place. And it was so nice that they were able to just equally just be connected the whole time and experience and be so close. Whereas, I mean, we're over here now, but even when we was in England, it's not the same. But it was so nice to sort of see that and almost have those same traditions in terms of some of the things in their house, some of the pictures, some of their welcomings. They're from hundreds of years ago of how they brought us into the house and things that they've not changed at all. And it was it was really nice to see that they've really held on to that.
And the Machu Picchu mountain, how long did it take for you to climb that?
So we did the half a day. Okay. So we did the quickest of the quickest, shall we say. So we took a massive shortcut because it can take, I mean, I don't know, it depends where you start. It can be a week. I think you can do 3-day ones, but ultimately we would also like to climb some mountains, me and Sam together at some point. But yeah, at that time we weren't gonna do it then. But yeah, it was nice to be able to just do the half a day and yeah, to be able to experience it. And it was really surreal.
Gosh, that's another one on my list now. That is another one.
I'll have to share some good pictures with you on all of these because we've got some.
Yeah, please do. Please do. Yeah, I'd love to see them. So we've literally travelled the world. We've gone from Manchester to Rome to Costa Rica to Bali and food poisoning. So now we're onto the section, our wildcard section.
Okay.
And I'm just going to ask you some quick fire questions, and you just fire back.
Okay.
Your biggest travel ick?
When you're sitting in a seat and then someone puts their seat back. One, I've got long legs, but Sam does it to others, and I'm like, babe. Like if someone does this to me, I'm annoyed. Okay. But she actually doesn't care. But like if someone does it to me, obviously I'm trapped because I've got the longest legs ever. But that's something that I'm like, come on. There's no need. There's no room for us to be bending back.
How do you continue to impact the world?
How do I continue?
Bit of a deep one, but...
Yes. No, I think inspiring and educating my kids. I think that's going to be a big one for hopefully they will also be able to follow their own passions and journeys and be I guess positive in the world in terms of that. I think that's also leaving that long legacy with my kids as well is a big one.
Amazing. Place at the top of your bucket list.
Place at the top. I mean, a lot of these are around the other side of the world, but Australia is up there.
Okay.
Australia, New Zealand, Fiji. Fiji's up there.
Fiji.
So on our list is also to do those sides, but we also know that that's very difficult to even fit in the 4 or 5 week because it's so far. Of course, so that is at the minute a little bit out of reach, and obviously got young kids, but that is on our list to go to those sides of the world. Along with a future home in Costa Rica.
Yes. Not bad.
Yeah.
And last one, Chris, one place you'd recommend to our next guest?
Seychelles. That was, we actually went there on our honeymoon. And that was also the first time we did scuba diving, which was amazing there. I think if you want to do scuba diving, I'm sure there's so many other places.
I've got to learn how to swim first.
You'll be
not sure.
It's not going to be a top of your list for now.
I'd love to,
but yeah, literally, I'm not the strongest swimmer, but I could do some doggy paddle to get out if I need.
Chris, thank you so much. I really enjoyed that.
No, it's a pleasure. No, so have I.
Embracing the hyphen, exploring all of your travel experiences, your life, your memories. This is your card deck.
No, thank you.
This is for you.
Thank you. No, thanks for having me. It's been great to go through all of these and just remember some great memories. Yeah.
There you go.